Hey there kids, welcome to another math lesson on video for Eureka Math Grade 5, Module 4, Lesson 32 homework. And we're getting close to the end, second to last lesson, yay. Objective at the bottom of the page is to interpret and evaluate numerical expressions, including the language of scaling and fraction division. So now that you can divide by fractions, they would like you to try to do that more often. So anyway, kind of a challenging lesson, but very important. You have to really know how to set up problems. And so you'll have a great opportunity to do this at kind of the end with the party invitation problem. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. You should have already watched the problem set video. You should know how to do it. You should have made an effort at guessing and setting all of these up and solving, and then you're just checking your work now against this work, and hopefully I'll do it right. All right, circle the expression equivalent to the difference between 7 and 4 divided by a fifth. Now I still have some students that are saying, well, the difference between 7 and 4 is that 7 is bigger. And I'll say, no, this is actually a word that means find the subtraction answer between 7 and 4. So that's what we're dealing with on these. You have to know how to say it and what to do. So circle the expression that is equivalent to this. Well, if you find the difference, you have to subtract. And then when you get that answer, you will then divide by a fifth. Not 5, but a fifth. So this one here shows subtraction. Okay, this one shows subtraction, this one shows subtraction. This is not right because there is no subtraction between 7 and 4. So the only one that's going to divide by a fifth, and this is where reading the problems carefully is important, because if you divide by a fifth, you should know that it's the second number, that's the divisor. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get this one to be right, is if this 1/5 comes second. This is wrong because it's in the wrong location. This is not a fifth, it's 5. Okay, so circle the expression or expressions equivalent to 42 divided by the sum of 2/3 and 3/4. So again, which one's right or which ones are right? If I have the sum of 2/3 and 3/4, and I know I need to get that first, then I've got this one and this one where I have the sum of 2/3 and 3/4. Okay, but I also need to do 42 divided by that. Well, this one has the sum being divided by 42. So that's not right because this is in the wrong place. This is not calculating the sum of 2/3 and 3/4 first. Sum means get the answer, and I'm not getting the answer here. So that's not right either. Here I have the 2/3 and 3/4 where I am adding first because it's in parentheses, and then 42 is being divided by this because this is in the divisor location. That should be circled. Now this is already in the dividend location. Dividend, dividend. This is divisor. This is divisor. So your sum of these, you would be solving this and then doing your division, and you can circle that one too. Even though we always say do the division first, but you would probably end up, now this is not my favorite thing, but separating this into two division problems, but answer key says this one is correct also. All right, onward. So I have a fourth as much as the sum of 3 1/8 and 4 5/10. So the numerical expression is what you're going to put with just numbers. A fourth as much as the sum. It's a fourth as much, so it's going to be 1/4 of. Now you can write it next to your parentheses. You can put a dot next to it, or you can leave it blank, or you can put a little X there. That would work either way. But the sum of 3 1/8 and 4.5, all you have to do is write what needs to be added here. And then that is your the part in parentheses. Take this one, same numbers, but we have a different action over here. This is still the sum of 3 1/8 and 4.5, but what? It's being divided by 5. So take the same phrasing and write it. The sum of this and this divided by 5. And so the dividing by the number, that's when you need to be able to read it correctly. Lots of students still reading that backwards, okay, because they want to say 5 divided by this. And I'm like, no, this is being divided by that. All right, multiply 3/5 by 5 8/10, then have the product. Got to know what this is, got to know what that is. So multiplying gives you a product. So we have to do this first in order to get the product. So I would put that in parentheses. And you can use an X or a dot, setting it up in parentheses either before or after. Oh, sorry. No, we're going to have the product. It's got to go here. Now we're going to divide it by 2. Could you also multiply by a fraction or take half of? 3 I did it backwards. So 3/5 and 5.8. So you can do this too. It's going to be half of this product. So either one is fine. Sorry, it's all crooked. Either one is fine. You can divide by 2 or take half of that. And you can put the half either before or after. That is going to be fine either way. I know it's kind of confusing. You're like, well, why can't I put it here, but I can't move that? Remember, the commutative property of multiplication and addition means you can move things around. It does not work for division. What did I say? Multiplication and addition does not work for division. Whew. It's been a long day. Okay, so next one. Take your numerical expression, and we have to write this in word form. We're not solving it right now. So we're going to take 1/6 of the what? Difference between this and this. So we're going to take 1/6. You don't have to say of. You can just say 1/6 the difference. Or you could say of the difference. That's fine. The difference what? Between 4.8 and 1/2. You don't have to say minus. You already are using difference. That means minus, okay? So this is fine for this one. Next. Now, 8 minus what? How do you get the answer to that? So this is called the quotient. You're going to get the quotient of this before you do your subtraction. Okay, so I have to get the quotient. You can still start with 8 minus, but you must use the word quotient because that means you have to get the answer first. 8 minus the quotient of 1/2 and 9. And again, don't put 1/2 divided by 9. You're already using quotient. That means divided by. Okay? Love this lesson. That's sarcasm. Sorry. Super fun. Okay, here we go. Compare the expressions in 3A and B without evaluating. Identify the expression that is greater. How do you know? So if I have, look at what we're doing here. 1/4 as much as the sum of 3 1/8 and 4.5. Or the sum of 3 1/8 and 4.5 divided by 5. So we're taking 1/4 of it or 1/5 of it. Excuse me. 1/4 or 1/5. So which one will be greater? So 1/4, you don't have to actually solve it, but A will be greater because taking fourths or making fourths, or however you want to write that, those pieces are going to be bigger than fifths. Remember, if you have like one donut and you're breaking it into 4 pieces, you get more donut than if you break it into 5 pieces. So 1/4 is bigger than 1/5. And so that's why this one is greater. A will be greater because 4 as a divisor makes bigger pieces or more than 5 as a divisor. Okay, so fifths, if you want to restate it, you could say fifths are smaller. It's just repeating ourselves, but just kind of understanding the size of the fractional unit. All right, back page, making progress. Evaluate the following expressions. Now you get to solve. So much stuff here. Okay, now you get to solve. What do you do first? You solve what's in parentheses. Rule of PEMDAS, PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, these guys are buddies. Addition, subtraction, these guys are buddies. That means same power, okay? Whichever one comes first, left to right. Okay, but multiplication and division have more power and strength than addition and subtraction. All right, so parentheses, solve it first. 11 minus 6 is 5. Now I have a dividing with a fraction problem, which we love to do. This is so much fun. 5 divided by 1/6. Keep it, change the sign, flip the second fraction. We can only do this operation here when we're dividing with fractions. So, got your 30 over 1, which is 30. Next one. Do what's in parentheses first. 4 is a whole number, so when I multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, I get 4/6. Rewrite and see if there's anything you can do to cross cancel. Always try to cross cancel first. Find the relationship. Remember, if I was to use the commutative property with multiplication like I can, then I could switch the order of the 5 and the 6, okay, which would give me 9/6 and 4/5. So 9/6 is a number that can be simplified by using 3 to divide into both numbers. So 3 goes into 6 2 times, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. Now I have something easier. 3 times 4 is 12, and 5 times 2 is 10. And this makes my my multiplying and simplifying easier. Now I can still simplify this. Why, do you ask? Well, I ended up with 4 halves, which I could have simplified earlier, but we haven't really gotten to that point yet. So when you have your 12/10, just straighten that out into a proper fraction or mixed number. 10 fits into 12 one whole time with 2 left over. And then this can be simplified by dividing both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So your simplified answer should be 1 1/5 as opposed to 1 2/10, which is still correct, but not the simplest form. Solve what's in parentheses first. 5 is a whole number over 1, so solve this one by doing the keep it, change the sign, flip and multiply by the reciprocal. If you don't know what I'm doing here, go back to my dividing with fractions lesson. Flip and multiply by the reciprocal. That's probably, I don't know, lesson 25, maybe before that. But yeah, lesson 25. Go watch that problem set video. You'll learn all about it. And then this will be 10 over 1 for 10. Now it's 1/10 divided by 10. That's your second step, because this is only this part here. Don't forget about this guy. So now, because we have another dividing with fractions, keep it, change the sign, multiply by the reciprocal, and end up with 1/100th for your final answer there. We have D here with 3 factors. which is really fun when they have lots of things to cross cancel. First of all, using the commutative property would allow me to shift the locations of all these factors so that I can make my job easier. Could I switch my 4 over here? Yes. And my 3 over here? Yes. And what I would end up with is 1 and 1. And that gives me 2/5. Not a lot of work there, but if you can cross cancel, your life is going to be so easy. If you went ahead and multiplied all that, you got a really big number, and then you should simplify it, and you'll still get it down to 2/5 if you calculate correctly. This one, we have a word statement, and we need to solve it. That's what evaluate means. So it's going to be 50 divided by the difference between 3/4 and 5/8. So I need to get the difference between 3/4, that's subtraction, and 5/8. So it starts out with this subtraction problem. Now it's been a while, but you can't subtract with unlike denominators. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a common denominator. I'm going to leave 5/8 alone because fourths can become eighths by a scale factor of 2. If I multiply by 2 to get 2 by 4 to get 8, I multiply 2 by 3 to get 6. So this is my first step, is get the common denominator. Now subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. And I don't forget about my 50 as a whole number over 1. Now I have, again, keep it, change it, flip it. I'm going to do it sideways so I don't smash it all in here. Keep, change, flip, multiply. 8 times 5, 40, plus the extra 0 over 1. Oops, which I am trying to get away from making that whole number over 1 now. And then if you just circle 400, that's your final answer. Okay, last question. It's this fun word problem. Fun, air quotes. Leah's sending out 32 birthday party invitations. So this is like a real life question. Anybody could do that. She gives 5 invitations to her mom to give to family members. We always do that. It's like, here, I don't want to put a postage stamp on it. It's too expensive. Lee mails a third of the rest, and then she takes a break to walk her dog. Write a numerical expression to describe how many invitations Lee has already mailed. Okay, so we've got some that are done and some that have not been sent out. So take your 32. This is where we start. We have our 32 invitations. She gives 5, gives them to her mom, and then we have a third of what's left. Okay, so we have the 5 that are leaving. That's the subtraction part. I have to know what the answer is to this before I can take a third of it. It's not multiplying it by 3. It's multiplying it by a third. I'm taking a third of this. So your expression would look like this, okay? Now, she takes a break to walk her dog. So what have I done here? I've got my 32. We've given away 5. Okay, away, subtracted, give to mom. So what's left? Which expression matches how many invitations still need to be sent out? A third of the rest got mailed. And this may not be like to scale, so don't just say it's a half, it's a half. We don't know that. This is just pieces. 5 went to mom through subtraction. Then whatever was left, a third of it was mailed. So which expression now matches how many invitations still need to be sent out? That's this portion here. So if you make a picture, it kind of helps to see what's happening. Now this can be pretty confusing, You know what? Maybe it's really easy for some kids, but I'm a little slow sometimes, especially today, it seems. But when I was looking at it originally, I thought, oh, well, we have to get the 2/3. And I looked at this one, and I'm like, what? But no, I still have to have the third of this. Like, that's not complete. So the only one of these that actually has a complete expression is this one, because we have the third of the 32 minus 5. We have to get this done to see how many were taken care of. But this part here only gets us to find out the third here. It's not actually being sent. So you have to have this portion here. I know it looks like it's a repeat, but you have to have this because this is only getting us to this amount, okay? And so this one is the actual answer. I don't know if you'd be able to justify it based on what I just told you, but that is the answer. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Click subscribe, come back again. We'll have some more fun on more videos. Bye for now.